hello everybody. Trust that you've had a good lunch and that the next hour you'll find it insightful and interactive. Okay, I'd like to start off, my short kind of presentation on the landscape by kind of emphasizing that Singapore is really, if you look at the Singapore context, so our tiny nation state is seen in the ASEAN region as a green policy leader. So in fact, if you look at what's been happening over the recent years, so in fact, a number of sustainability related initiatives and legislation have been rolled out. So this includes the Singapore Green Plan, which was announced in February 2021. And this is really a whole of nation movement to advance the agenda on sustainable development. So there have been other regulations, such as the introduction of the carbon tax in 2022 and the Resource Sustainability Act in 2019, right? So, and why I mention this is because all these changes in the regulatory landscape and government initiatives and so on, so they do have an impact on the corporate sector in terms of, so in a way you can see them as sticks and carrots, right? So in that, certainly there are a lot of compliance requirements. Say, for instance, there is, as part of the Resource Sustainability Act, so there is this mandatory packaging reporting scheme. So whereby companies that are distributing certain products and if they have more than $10 million in annual revenue, so they are required to submit packaging data and recycling or reuse plans to the government. Yeah, so essentially it's a sticks and carrot approach, right, to encourage companies to kind of hop onto the sustainability bandwagon. Okay, and what is heartening to see is that really, if you look at Singapore and in particular the SMEs, right, the smaller companies below $200 million in revenue, so there is increasing awareness of ESG. So in fact, maybe if I could cite the SME survey conducted by QBE, the insurance company, so whereby one of the findings was that more than slightly over 3/4 of the companies say that ESG issues are relevant to their business, and about half of them, they do conduct social and environmental initiatives at least once a year. And over above that, on a qualitative basis, and this is certainly also based on my business kind of interactions with business partners and with our clients, is that the conversation has also shifted from kind of a broader what is ESG to a more action-oriented stance, in that companies are really asking about what they can do. So and in fact they are looking at ESG as something that's defensive, say things that they can do, that they need to do for compliance, as well as offensive. So in the sense that companies are also looking into how they can innovate and they can create new products and services for the green economy. Okay, and what can we expect going forward? So first and foremost, the climate crisis is here, right? So in that, if you look at what's been happening over the last few months, because we are at the kind of the middle to slightly tail end of the summer season in the Northern Hemisphere. So the unfortunate thing is that many countries have been hit by extreme weather events, and this has actually destroyed infrastructure, and there have been many injuries and even fatalities as well. So what it means for all of us, particularly companies that have an international footprint, is that you need to assess the climate-related risks and opportunities, and also you need to make plans to adapt your business model to a warmer and more hostile world. Okay. Then the second thing, the second trend that we can expect, and I kind of touched on this earlier, is that we certainly can see more reporting and compliance requirements, right? Say from the government, right? And it's not only the Singapore government; it's in fact a global shift, right? So, and again, this is something that companies need to be mindful of, and in a way, you need to anticipate what's coming up, so that at least you have enough time to respond to all these new reporting and compliance requirements. The third trend that we're seeing is really a greater focus on supply chain resilience Yeah, so for instance, a lot of the Fortune 500 companies, so they are asking for a lot of ESG related data, and they even subject some of their suppliers to meet certain ESG requirements as part of their pre-qualification process. So what that means is that, say for instance, if you are in the precision engineering space in Singapore, if you are one of the many manufacturers here in Singapore and you're supplying to your big corporate global clients, then you really need to up your game. You need to have all the data and in place, right? And as well as the system, so that you can produce different types of analysis and information that your clients will require. Yeah. And finally, and this is also something very heartening to see, which is that, in times of adversity, there are also times of opportunity, right? So then what we're seeing is that there's actually a lot of investments, right, going into green tech, going to kind of online cloud-based ESG tools, right? Yeah. So because really we are it's kind of like in extra time right now for when it comes to climate change, so there's certainly a lot of need, right, for innovative products and platforms and technologies. Okay, then in terms of what companies can do now, right, in terms of when it comes to ESG reporting, is that I would actually recommend three things that companies need to do. So one is really to have an internal review process, right? So this is to ensure that whatever information that you intend to put out in the public domain, because it will be subject to a lot of scrutiny by different stakeholders, right? Including governments, including NGOs, your business partners, and even the media, right? So you have to make sure that it stands up to scrutiny. Two is that you need to improve on your data quality and governance, and this will be one of the themes that we'll cover in today's webinar, right? And it'll be touched on by the other speakers as well. And finally, is that whenever you plan to make any kind of ESG related claim, so make sure that it's backed up, right? So you have, say for instance, you have done a life cycle assessment for your product. If you want to make the claim that you have chosen a certain material that is proven to be environmentally more friendly. Yeah, and if you look on the right side of the screen, so what's happening in the EU is that going forward, greenwashing will be against the law, right? So while we do not have such legislation in Singapore yet, yeah. So but if you are a company and if you are exporting into the EU, so this is something to be mindful of, right? So the point being that if whatever claims you want to make sure that you're on firm ground. Okay, then if in terms of looking ahead, so what should companies do really to improve your ESG performance, right? And I will actually recommend what I call a bionic approach. So that means you have to look at the people element, yeah. So you have to create that sustainability aware culture, and that involves taking on an investment mindset, right? So that means and also to integrate ESG into your core business, yeah, and not look at it as something of a checkbox activity that you need to do once a year, right? And if you take that investment mindset, then it also entails putting in place the right organizational structure, the good people to drive ESG, as well as building up the competencies, right? And also the other thing you need to do is also to ensure that you cascade that ESG awareness throughout your organization, right? So that's the people part. But equally, the people part needs to be complemented by the tools, right? So by your and this is where digitalization can come in, right? And because at the end of the day, corporate sustainability is really a value chain, right? So there's reporting, there is also data collection, there's also management, implementation, and so on. So, and then it's important to kind of take the view that really by harnessing technology, right, then it can help you to run your business more efficiently, right? And also improve on your reporting performance. Okay, so and this is something I've experienced myself. So because I was an implementer during my almost 10 years in Sentosa, and it's really a very fun and insightful journey of discovery. So my kind of one small piece of advice is really get started with a strong sense of purpose, right? In that you'll be sustainability is about doing good for your organization, but it's also about kind of building a better society for all of us. Yeah, and of course, and also you need to adopt the right tools to help you with that journey.